Well, if I can get America to take off their rose-colored glasses for, 15, 20 minutes, as long as it takes to watch this video, we might save America yet. But until you take off those rose-colored glasses, you're not going to see things not as they are. You remember when American kids in their youth, they were very proud of America. Why were they proud? Of all the wars that we won. It made America great. It made us strong. You felt safe. Do you feel any of that stuff today? Do you feel patriotic today? No, you don't. There's a reason for it. This here is about says the truth about the Korean War. This is about the United Nations, people. You better wake up to the fact of what the living hell is going on. United Nations is the greatest fraud in all history. Its purpose is to destroy the United States. Congressman John E. Rankin. Now, at that time of Vietnam, a lot of us weren't aware of what we had got into. Each and every one of us that served in Korea or Vietnam served under the total command of a Soviet general. Now you remember when Michael New wouldn't take that oath of office to the United Nations peacekeeping forces? Even General MacArthur ran into that problem. So when General MacArthur woke up to the treason of President Truman and the Soviets and the United Nations, he executed one of the greatest military performances ever ventured in modern warfare. Yeah. Here's something else, people, since we're on this. I'm going to read this to you. Let me zoom this in just as much as I can. Not only does the Charter Organization of the United Nations not prevent future wars, but it makes it practically certain that we shall have future wars. And as such wars that takes place, the power to declare them, back up. Not only does the Charter Organization of the United Nations not prevent future wars, but it makes it practically certain that we shall have future wars. And as to such wars it takes from us, the United States, the power to declare them, to choose the side on which we shall fight, to determine which forces and military equipment we shall use in war, and what to control and command our sons to do to the fighting. Planned wars by international corporate socialists, money barons, within the United States and throughout the world bring great profits to the majority of banks and war manufacturing plants that have controlled and owned all across the United States. These same people got filthy rich on the 20 pieces of silver for the lives lost and wounded of our soldiers in Korea and Vietnam conflicts, and they collected billions of dollars in profits for supplying war materials in Korea and Vietnam. By now you should have come to realize why there are so many restrictions on our soldiers during combat in Korea and Vietnam. And why we were not allowed to win. We also were not allowed to bomb certain targets, not allowed to do anything in a positive manner to destroy the enemy. Korea and Vietnam were never planned to be won, but instead they were planned so that big money could be made by all the bankers and all their political lackeys who sit in public office all over the United States and in other governments of the world. The Vietnam conflict was also allowed to continue to weaken the resistance of American people against any type of war or fight any communism. To accept anything would be better in the minds of the masses than war than having their sons killed, even if it meant merging of our entire government so that the Soviet Union could witness this. They weakened America on purpose. Now, all those kids back in the day at the colleges, you go, they kind of understood what was happening about the war. It wasn't meant to be won. Wasn't meant to be won. After Vietnam, I mean, people come home only to find out that, hey, guess what? You're labeled a baby killer. Huh? They wanted to demoralize you. You only feel proud and patriotic when you win. Just like a football game or a basketball game or a hockey game. You only feel proud and patriotic when you win. Not when you keep losing and losing and losing. And those wars weren't meant to be won. They were only made to weaken America. Now this other piece here on the United Nations, let me unzoom this maybe. This is global government, and then round your national sovereignty. Single acts of tyranny may be described as the accidental opinion of the day, but a series of oppressions began at the distinguished period, and through every change of ministers, and then they systematically plan of reducing us to slavery. A world effectively controlled by the United Nations is one which world government would come about through the establishment of different institutions characterized by mandatory universal membership and some ability to employ physical force. Effective control would thus entail a preponderance of political power in the hands of this organization, the United Nations. Yeah, they want power sufficient to monitor and enforce disarmament, settle disputes, keep the peace, including taxing powers and all other powers reserved to the nations. An international force balanced appropriately among ground, sea, air, and stuff, and having 500,000 men recruited individually wearing a UN uniform and controlling a nuclear force composed of 50 to 100 land-based missiles and endorsed underseas base missiles averaging 1 megaton per weapon, so on and so forth, and compulsory jurisdiction of the International Court. Globalists have been striving to implement their schemes throughout our ages. Our founding fathers recognized the tyrannical forces at work and warned us against large concentration of power. When Thomas Jefferson said, "When all governments, domestic and foreign, in little as in great things shall be drawn to Washington as the center of all power, will render powerless the checks provided by one government on another. We will become a president of the government of which we were separated from." You keep looking at the United Nations to solve wars and famines and terrorism, it's a bunch of shit. You've got to look to these countries taking care of themselves, but they're not doing it. So what you do is, it's the United Nations. Like I told you, take off your rose-colored glasses, people. It's the United Nations. Now this here is the Council on Foreign Relations. They're also part of the United Nations, and we need to get rid of them. Now these people, they're formerly headquartered at the CFR's membership in New York, constitute a wide range of powerful individuals, including members of the Rockefeller family, who operate in the Rockefeller sphere of influence. These include large major figures in media, academia, corporate, legal, and financial worlds. The Council on Foreign, the Council on Foreign Relations people need to be dismantled. We need to kick the United Nations off of our soil. We need to take back control of this country, and that is the only way to do it. Take off your rose-colored glasses and join We've got to get them out of here. And it's going to continue. This shit's going to continue. The chaos is going to continue until they put us into some kind of a predicament where they can force this down our throats. I put out a thing years ago. It said about the United Nations. They're a Trojan horse. They were given to us by rich, powerful men under the guise of peace. Their only interest is to take over all of the whole world by treaties. By treaties, you make people submit to that, and you get to take over without firing a shot. That's how communism works. People, I want to thank you for watching, taking the time to watch anyway. Like I said, when you join the United Nations and you're under the peacekeeping banner, you're not going to win a war. All of their system is set up to break down the willpower of Americans. It's like propaganda, psychological warfare is what this is. It won't let you win a war. These are called police actions for a reason. They're not a war. You're not going over there to win. You're going over there supposedly to keep the peace, and you get killed for it. That's a bunch of shit. Why would you want to go join a military when that's what you end up with? You're not fighting for our country. You're fighting for everybody else. You're fighting for banks to make more money. Not only that, you think like, well, Schwarzkopf, man, he had all them tanks. He went through Iraq there, and they kick butt. Well, they let him. But you didn't win a war. No, you didn't win a war. You're not going to ever win any war. Because all the paperwork, all the actions have to go through the United Nations because they're in charge. And they're in New York. And your enemy knows everything that's going on before you do. You think about what I said. Thanks for watching, guys. Take off them rose-colored glasses. Get this foreign entity out of the United States. Our forefathers wouldn't have allowed it, and neither should you.